compare and contrast Kyle and Mike.
Well, I knew Mike, and
Mike won 2 Super Bowls.
I've never met Kyle. Mike was a very serious. Okay, I'm going to be really serious about this. Okay. He was a very bright offensive coordinator and a very good leader, but he got run out of the Raiders. He got run out of the Raiders because he didn't know how to get along with Al Davis. He thought, I believe, when he went in, that he would run the show, and he didn't understand what was going on there. He had to be humiliated in order to grow.
Yes, that's true.
Everybody, and I mean everybody, gets knocked out. I've been knocked out. Iggy's been knocked out. Joe Louis got knocked out by Schmeling. Everybody gets knocked out. The question is, what do you do about it? And Mike Shanahan needed to get knocked out to turn into an all-time great coach. And he did.
He was one of the best coaches of the 90s. He won a Super Bowl as a coordinator with the Niners, and then he won and redeemed John Elway's career and got him 2 Super Bowl rings. Now, after Elway retired, Mike Shanahan had a lot of mediocre years in Denver without a Hall of Fame quarterback and never really developed his own quarterback, so he wouldn't be in the Bill Walsh category, but he's definitely a borderline Hall of Famer. 3 rings.
Yes, that's what I think.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give him a word, gravitas.
Yes.
I don't see that his kid has that. I think his kid, in a way, if they have a bad season, and I'm going to say they're going to have a bad season, if he can respond the way his father responded by getting fired by Al Davis, he may turn into a coach like his dad. But he has not even sniffed what his dad did.
Well, we've been talking about Kyle's leadership and lack of it all day. Mike, you said he was a leader. I mean, I think you could argue that Kyle's a more creative offensive coach than Mike. I mean, Kyle, everyone says that they steal ideas from him. He's the guy that comes up with the ideas, but that doesn't make you a good head coach. That doesn't mean he's going to win a Super Bowl. Like, his ideas have gotten him to 2 Super Bowls and gotten him beat. Shanahan never lost a Super Bowl. Mike. And I think it's fair to say that he seems to be a better leader, a better head coach. He did a better job catering to the ego of his quarterback. I mean, he wasn't in a competition with John Lynch to take credit for the offense. He helped John Lynch be great. He helped Steve Young be great. What Shanahan seems to want is to get the credit. Kyle, I can say Shanahan. Kyle seems to want to get the credit, and I think he's partially responsible for Jimmy Garoppolo losing all the confidence he had. So yeah, Mike's a better leader. Kyle's a better coordinator, maybe.
And the other thing is, people watching this could say, well, Mike had Elway and Kyle doesn't have someone like Elway. Well, who does have someone like Elway? But it's certainly Kyle's responsibility to get a really good quarterback. He's the one who passed on Mahomes. Other people saw Mahomes. Look, I'm going to venture it out. I'm going to venture to say Mahomes is better than Jimmy as a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Shanahan's supposed to be an offensive genius. He didn't see it with Mahomes. Andy Reid saw it.
Yeah, Andy Reid saw it. He must have thought, thank you.
Another thing, I'm over here saying I think Kyle Shanahan's going to run the ball. I kind of feel like he might run the ball. You never had to think that way about Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan wanted to run the ball and was good at it. And that was what he did. He brought run games to teams with Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were asking that guy to do too much. Kyle really wants to throw. He was a wide receiver in college, and even with Raheem Mostert on the team, he's throwing. Even with his backup quarterback in the game and a terrible pass-protecting offensive line, bombs away. Mike wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that.
I agree. So for now, Vish, I don't know Kyle, so I can't compare their personalities. But as a head coach, Mike is at the big table and Kyle's at the children's table.
Absolutely. Yep. And not just with the 49ers, but in the NFL. Kyle has not gotten to the Mike Shanahan level yet. I'm trying to look at it for another question for us. Someone wants to know about it. Should the Niners make a trade? Do you want to talk about Kaepernick? No.
I don't want to talk about Kaepernick.
No. I don't know. Let me see. Okay, Vish asked good questions. All right. Who was the most impressive between Holmgren, Denny Green, and Mike Shanny?
Vish, I have a very interesting answer to that. I used to talk a lot to Bill Walsh, and he was very professorial. And so one time, maybe we were having a drink or whatever, and he said, Lowell, who do you think the best coach I ever developed was? And I had no idea. And he said Dennis Green.
Wow. I wouldn't get that. Wow.
He said Dennis Green. And he said, it's possible that Sam Weish was more brilliant as an offensive mind. But he said, all things considered, offensive genius, brilliance, leadership, toughness, Dennis Green. Now, Dennis Green won Super Bowls with the Niners, but he never won on his own.
Yep.
Holmgren won once on his own, right? Holmgren was a very important head coach. Between the three of them, having said all that, I'd say Mike Shanahan was the best head coach of the three. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Holmgren, and I'm going to say that because Holmgren developed Favre. That's a big deal. Favre was a washout with the Falcons. They gave up on him. They traded him to the Packers, and he made it work. I mean, he brought the West Coast offense to a quarterback who wanted to throw deep, and he was like a 3-time MVP, and they only won one Super Bowl, but they did win the one Super Bowl. Mike never developed a quarterback like that, although he did win with Elway. So I would give a narrow edge to Holmgren, but I see what you're saying. Good question, though.
It's a very good question, yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Walsh answered the way he did. I mean, no one would guess that Walsh would feel that way, that Denny Green was the one.
Now, I want to say something about Walsh. He was very complicated. Sometimes when he said blue, I thought he meant blue, but he really meant yellow. He was that complicated.
Yes.
So if he said Dennis Green, who knows if he really believed it or he just said it for whatever reason.
Yeah, he liked the way it sounded at that time. Who knows?
Who knows if he really meant it? Maybe he was threatened by Holmgren.
Yes.
Maybe he thought Holmgren was a better head coach and he was threatened and he didn't want to give Mike credit. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying with Bill, there was always a gray area.
Actually, Sean Shepper, who just gave us a $2 tip, thanks, Sean, said that Mike developed Elway. He has a point because Mike was in Denver all throughout the 80s when Elway was a younger quarterback. So you know what? Maybe Mike does get the nod over at Holmgren because he did develop Elway. He was there he had a couple of years with the Niners, but he went and the Raiders, but he was with Elway at the beginning and Elway at the end. So fair enough. Thanks for the tip. Good call, Dad. I'm gonna say that you were right on that one.
So Iggy, you can get tips on this?
Yeah, people can actually pay us directly. Isn't that nice?
Well, I don't actually get paid. You do. But here's what I want to say: the $2 that can go toward the $50 cab. So now you're only in for 48.